Mount Dukono just produced its largest ash column of 2026. The footage is striking. 20 hikers were on the mountain when it happened. Mount Dukono, on the eastern Indonesian island of Halmahera in North Maluku Province, has been erupting almost continuously for 92 consecutive years, since 1933. It is one of the most persistently active volcanoes on Earth, having produced 475 separate eruptions in 2025 and close to 200 more since March. On Friday, May 8, 2026, at 7:41 a.m. local time, the volcano produced an ash column that climbed 10 kilometers, over 32,000 feet, into the sky, accompanied by what the Indonesian Volcanology Agency described as a weak to strong booming sound. The ash drifted north toward the city of Tobelo, where authorities issued volcanic ash rain warnings. 20 hikers were trapped on the mountain, 9 Singaporean nationals, 11 Indonesian. By afternoon, 3 were dead, 10 remained missing, 5 had been pulled out injured, and 7 had come down safely. The smoke column from the Malupang Warirang Crater has been visible from satellite on most days for the past 9 decades. Local residents in Tobelo and Galela have grown up with the daily plume as part of the horizon. But here is the detail that tells the real story. The official story Friday morning was the spectacle. Photos circulated of the smoke column, Reuters ran an early bulletin, and CNN, Al Jazeera, and the South China Morning Post followed within hours. The Indonesian Rescue Agency announced 20 hikers were trapped. Singapore confirmed 9 of its citizens were among them, and by evening, the international news cycle was framing it as a sudden volcanic disaster. What is almost nowhere reported is that the area where these hikers were caught had been officially closed since April 17. The 4-kilometer exclusion zone around the Malupang Warirang Crater had been enforced since December. The Center for Volcanology and Geological Hazard Mitigation had observed an increase in volcanic activity 3 weeks before the May 8 event. The closure was applied because the procedure said to apply it. The procedure existed because in December 2023, a volcano in West Sumatra named Marapi erupted while at the second lowest alert level, and 23 hikers were killed. The question is what happens when a country that closed Mount Dukono 3 weeks before May 8 still has 20 people on the mountain when the eruption arrives. This is how it happened. On April 17, 2026, the Center for Volcanology observed a measurable increase in activity. Seismic signals had escalated, and ash column heights were more frequent at the higher end of the range. Hiking access to Mount Dukono was officially closed. 21 days later, on the morning of Friday, May 8, 20 hikers were on the mountain. They had entered through routes that had been shut for 3 weeks. At 7:41 local time, the eruption began. The ash column reached 10 kilometers above the summit within minutes, drifting northward toward Tobelo City. The local rescue agency, known as Basarnas, deployed dozens of personnel, including police. Iwan Ramdani, the head of the Ternate office, told Reuters, "Our team is on its way. Based on reports, there are about 20 people being searched for." By afternoon, North Halmahera District Police Chief Erlichson Pasaribu confirmed there are 3 dead, 2 foreigners, and 1 resident of Ternate. 7 hikers had come down safely, 5 had been injured, and 10 remained missing as the search continued into the night. The volcano alert level was maintained at level 3. The agency did not raise it after the eruption. The eruption was, by the system's classification, exactly what level 3 predicted. Here is what made it so much worse. Mount Dukono is what volcanologists call an open conduit volcano. The magma column inside the central vent has not sealed in 92 years. Gas flows continuously from the magma to the surface. Most of the time, that produces a simple ash plume. Sometimes the gas pressure builds, the plume gets taller, ejected rocks travel further, and the eruption magnitude steps up. The 4-kilometer exclusion zone exists because the agency cannot predict, on any given day, whether the volcano will produce a 500-meter plume or a 10-kilometer one. Level 3 in Indonesia does not mean the volcano is about to erupt catastrophically. It means the volcano is producing eruptions of unpredictable intensity on a regular basis. Hikers were not expected to interpret Level 3 as a green light. The closure was meant to interpret it for them. The volcano did exactly what Level 3 said it might do. The May 8 eruption was not the warning. The first warning was December, when the 4-kilometer zone went into effect. The second was April 17, when the trail closed. The eruption was the consequence. To understand what is happening underneath, look at the plates. Halmahera lies at the convergence of the Pacific Plate, the Philippine Sea Plate, and the Eurasian Plate system. The magma feeding Dukono's vent originates approximately 100 kilometers below the surface, generated as the subducting oceanic plate melts. It rises continuously, accumulates in a shallow reservoir, and vents through Malupang Warirang Crater. The conduit has not sealed in 92 years. The system is in steady state. That steady state is why Dukono is dangerous in a different way than most volcanoes. Most active volcanoes have eruption cycles, periods of activity followed by periods of dormancy that allow tourism to resume. Dukono has no such cycle. The system never resets. The 4-kilometer exclusion zone is permanent. The Level 3 alert is permanent. The danger is not seasonal, it is a feature of the volcano. The hikers on May 8 were climbing a system that had no safe window to climb. Here is what is not making most headlines. There is a stretch of mountain trail in West Sumatra, Indonesia, where 23 people died on December 3, 2023. The mountain is called Marapi. The summit access has been restricted ever since. Marapi erupted at 2:54 in the afternoon on a Sunday. The volcano had been at level 2, the second lowest alert level, and the trail had been open. 75 hikers were on the mountain when the eruption began. The ash column reached 3 kilometers above the summit. There was no warning between the seismic baseline and the eruption. 11 hikers were declared missing immediately, 12 more were confirmed dead by Sunday evening, and the remaining missing were recovered as bodies over the following days. The total death toll reached 23. In the months that followed, Indonesia's volcano-tourism protocols were rewritten. The agency expanded its closure authority and added new criteria for when a Level 2 volcano should have its hiking access shut. The protocols were applied to every active volcano in Indonesia. On April 17, 2026, the agency applied those protocols to Mount Dukono. The closure was the December 3rd procedures working as designed. On May 8, 2026, 3 hikers died on Mount Dukono. The closure had been in place for 21 days. The 4-kilometer zone had been in place for 5 months, and the count from December 3 still stands at 23. The count from May 8 is still being assembled, and it is still going. The rescue is ongoing. 10 hikers remain unaccounted for, 5 are confirmed injured, and the volcano continues to vent. The question is not whether Mount Dukono will erupt again. It will. The pattern of the past, 92 years, guarantees that. The question is not whether the closure procedures work. They do. The April 17 closure was the procedure working precisely as designed. The question is whether the world will remember Marapi long enough to learn from it before another hiking community tests another closed Indonesian volcano. The 23 names from December 3, 2023 exist because hikers climbed a volcano classified as relatively safe to climb that morning. The names from May 8 exist because hikers climbed a volcano that had been officially closed for 3 weeks. The procedures had improved. The outcome had not. Mount Dukono has been erupting almost without pause since 1933. The Malupang Warirang Crater has been off-limits since December, and the trail has been closed since April 17. 3 hikers did not come back down on May 8. The next eruption has not been scheduled. If this story is worth telling, subscribe. We cover more of these every week.